The silver gull can be found throughout Australia, New Zealand, and New Caledonia. We were lucky enough to see both feeding and breeding behavior. Leaving the North Beach, we headed back toward town, stopping for a pheasant cockle. On the south shore, we headed up to see Koala again, and then headed to our campground. In the afternoons, the campground feeds the flocks of wild rainbow lorikeets, and bush stone-curlews join in. My son lured some of the lorikeets all the way across the campground to our camper. Some of the curlews came along, and laughing Kookabura watched from overhead. As dusk approached, sulphur-crested cockatoos flew in. In Australia, they are found in much of the east, the far north, and the area around Perth. Sulphur-crested cockatoos are also found in New Guinea, Indonesia, and adjacent islands. They are usually found in flocks and have communal roosts. They have an extensive diet composed of vegetable matter and insects, which they generally gather on the ground. The next day we headed to the car ferry. At the loading area, we found welcome swallow, the rock-wallabies, and possum. Back on the mainland, we headed west to the area north of Pentland, where we spent a couple of days on back roads. The forest is dry here, and there are many termite mounds. Pied butcherbirds were found throughout the area. Their calls echoed through the woods everywhere we stopped. The wedge-tailed eagle is found throughout Australia and in southern New Guinea. It tends to avoid coastal areas. Although they tend to be solitary, there were several birds here, probably indicating an animal carcass was in the grass somewhere. The gray-crowned babbler is found in the eastern and northern half of the country and in southern New Guinea. They usually remain in one area and are found in small groups. Most of their foraging is done on the ground, where they hunt for insects and spiders. The Apostlebird is found in most of the eastern and parts of the northern part of the country. They often are found on the ground and may be in flocks of up to 100. Flocks generally remain in one area, and their territory always includes a source of water. Red-backed Fairy-Wren were along the roads, adding their striking beauty to the striking landscape. Termite mounds were numerous, and the grass was waist high. Overhead, Australian magpies watched the proceedings. The blue-faced honeyeater is found in parts of eastern and northern Australia, as well as southern New Guinea. It usually forages in trees for a varied diet. The pale-headed Rosella is part of the white-cheeked Rosella complex. Its range is limited to eastern Queensland. It prefers this type of open forest. The complex includes eastern and northern Rosella as well. It feeds on insects, fruit, and nectar, which it gathers on the ground or in trees. We camped by a lake in late afternoon. Black-necked storks and white-faced herons walked along the edge of the lake, and little-pied cormorants sat on fence posts. The next morning, we found darter, Australasian grebe, and Australian pelican. Except for a band through Western Australia, the darter is found throughout the country. Its range extends to much of Africa and southern Asia. Here we see one drying its wings following a bout of fishing. It prefers this type of inland lake and rivers for habitat. It can often be seen with just its neck out of the water. It stalks rather than pursues its prey. In Australia, the range of the Australasian grebe is similar to that of the darter, but beyond that, its range is limited to New Guinea and some nearby islands. Except for a small portion of the west, the Australian pelican is found throughout Australia. It's also found in southern New Guinea and at various times in Indonesia and other islands. They are highly nomadic, following the water. The great crested grebe is found in the eastern and western portions of the country. It is a cosmopolitan species with an extensive range. We found only one of this species at this lake. The Australasian grebe prefers fresh water to salt and feeds on small fish and aquatic invertebrates. It's more often found on smaller bodies of water than our other grebes. The whistling kite is found throughout Australia and is one of its most abundant hawks. It's also found in New Guinea, New Caledonia, and the Solomons. Although sometimes found in flocks, they usually live in pairs. Their diet is quite diverse and includes aquatic and land animals. The grey teal is found throughout Australia and eastward to the Solomons. It's most likely the most numerous duck in Australia. It can often be found in large flocks where it can be seen feeding on aquatic plants and insects. Whistling kites were numerous at the lake. They perched in eucalyptus trees along the edge and on the snags which were in the lake. In the water nearby, there was a royal spoonbill and other waders. The little friarbird is common in eastern and northern Australia. It's also found in New Guinea and Indonesia. Australian magpie and grey butcherbird were also along the edge of the lake. This juvenile butcherbird is at the edge of its range. This species tends to avoid the arid interior of Australia. They feed primarily on insects, but also eat small reptiles, birds, and mammals. Then we hit the road again, making good time considering the road conditions.
We're getting into the real outback, aren't we? Just grass. No trees.
Yeah, I think so. At 100 kilometers of this stuff, I began to wonder if we're going to come to a paved road at any time.
Yeah. We have to go 70 kilometers on this. So 2 hours on this, we should hit a paved road. Hopefully, if this is the right one.
Yeah. Along the way, we stopped to look at cows, apostlebirds, and cockatoos. Beside the road, we found a herd of feral camels, an unexpected and intriguing find. They offered a great chance for my son to hone his photography skills. But the camels just wanted to eat, and the road beckoned, so off we went, making good time sometimes, and sometimes not. The road required some route finding to get around the mud sinks. Double-barred finches brought us to a stop as we traveled along. They are found in northern and eastern Australia. They tend to be a social species and are usually found near water. Their diet includes seeds and insects. As we watched the finches, 2 squatter pigeons crossed the road. The range of this species barely extends beyond Queensland. We watched the finches for a long time. Wedge-tailed eagles flew overhead, and nearby we found the black-faced wood swallow. This wood swallow is found in most of Australia. This is the albiventris race, which is only found in Queensland. It is generally sedentary, and more likely to be found in arid areas than the other wood swallows. It's an insect eater. Back on the road, we were making good time until we spotted a brown falcon. The brown falcon is found throughout Australia and is diverged into 5 races. It is the most numerous falcon found in Australia and is also found in New Guinea. The brown falcon's diet includes insects, reptiles, birds, and mammals. It usually catches its food by flying low to the ground. Galahs were in the trees nearby and in the grass below. They are found in most of Australia, being absent from part of the center of the continent and part of the southern coastal area. They are often found in large, noisy flocks. Farther along the road, we encountered a single bustard, barely visible in the tall grass. The Australian bustard is found in most of the country, being absent in parts of the south and interior. It's strongly nomadic, with a diet of seeds, small mammals, and reptiles. Not far from the dryland bustard, there is a small lake with a black swan and cygnets. It's a species which can be found throughout Australia. It's an Australian endemic, but has been introduced in a number of other countries. Its diet consists primarily of aquatic vegetation. We finally came out onto a main road and made our way to Huntingdon, where we stayed at a campground with real showers. The following morning, we found a flock of crested pigeons feeding on breadcrumbs. This species is found in almost all of Australia, usually in small flocks. The little crow is found throughout the dry interior. It's omnivorous. At the city park, we found pied butcherbird and Australian magpie. The pied butcherbird has an exceptional voice. It's generally found in dry areas. Leaving Huntingdon, we headed west to Richmond, stopping along the way to watch a flying Australian bustard. We arrived in early afternoon with plenty of time for birding around town. There were plenty of the black-faced wood swallows we had seen in the bush the day before. This was a very popular bush. We saw both pale-headed Rosella and yellow-throated miner in it. The yellow-throated miner is found in most of Australia. There are 4 races. As seen in this sequence, it feeds on nectar, as well as fruit and insects. It's fitting that as we near the end of this volume, we saw one of the first species we saw in Australia, the magpie lark. This ends our first volume of Birding Queensland. In the next volume, we bird south of Richmond for emu and head to Winton, home of Waltzing Matilda. This is Bob Burns for Natural Video. Good birding.